Welcome to another episode of Backpass Tactics. We build backwards and transition forward because every goal begins with building from the back and passing forward. Today we'll be talking about Kaizer Chiefs, Amakhosi. We'll talk about the Kaizer Chiefs coaching situation, my advice for the Kaizer Chiefs co-coaches, what the problem with co-coaches usually is, who I'd pick as the head coach of Kaizer Chiefs, and how much time I'd give these two co-coaches and what my targets for these two co-coaches would be. Now I'll also talk about the problem with co-coaches, what the problem with co-coaches usually is. If you look at Mamelodi Sundowns, they also had co-coaches at some point. This never works out. It's hard for a team to be successful with two co-coaches. I can't remember any team that was successful with co-coaches. It doesn't work out. It's not something that is advised, especially for a big team like Kaizer Chiefs. Maybe if it was a team like Chipa United or a team that just got promoted into the Betway Premiership, maybe they can use co-coaches. But for a team as big as Kaizer Chiefs, you can't use co-coaches, especially when you're dealing with big name players who have egos. They need to know who is in charge and who makes the final decision. And sometimes those two co-coaches might not agree on a decision. So when they don't agree on a decision, one of them has to actually lean on the other person's decision because you can't have two opposite decisions at the same time. So one of the co-coaches has to have the final say in terms of when there are disagreements and whatnot. So in terms of the two co-coaches, Cedric Kaze and Khalil Ben Youssef, who would I pick as the head coach for Kaizer Chiefs? So let's start with the pros and cons of each. Cedric Kaze is a very good attacking coach. I love some of his interviews. I know that he has a background with the La Masia Academy. I don't know if it was La Masia Academy in Africa or La Masia Academy in Europe. And then Khalil Ben Youssef is also a very good coach. He also knows how to speak English. He's also very good at interviews. And when Coach Nabi wasn't around, Coach Khalil was actually doing very well as the head coach of Kaizer Chiefs, as the interim head coach of Kaizer Chiefs. So between the two of them, they both don't have as much head coaching experience. Both of them are known for being head coaches. But in my opinion, I'd make Khalil Ben Youssef the head coach of Kaizer Chiefs and Cedric Kaze would be the assistant coach. And this would help the team in the sense that now the players will know who has the final decision. When there are disagreements, we know that Khalil has the final say. I'm not saying Cedric Kaze won't have any input in the team. I'm just saying when there is a final decision that has to be made, Khalil Ben Youssef will be the one that will say yes or no, or he'll have another decision that he wants to implement. So he'll have the final say in terms of all the decisions. So if Kaizer Chiefs continues with these two co-coaches, this is what my target for these two co-coaches would be. At the end of the season, I expect them to be in the top four. I expect these two co-coaches to get Kaizer Chiefs in the top four. But the way things are looking right now, there are so many draws. The team is not performing well. And I think the team should start practicing more in terms of attacking because clearly the problem is attacking more than defense. Because in terms of defense, the team actually had a good clean sheet run at some point. But in terms of attacking play, the team just doesn't score enough goals. And I don't know if it's a striker problem or it's a playmaking problem because sometimes the team does get good opportunities, but they don't seem to convert those opportunities into goals. So right now, we don't have a clinical striker. We don't have clinical wingers. We don't have clinical midfielders. We don't have defenders that are also chipping in goals because when a team is not scoring goals, you expect defenders to chip in as well. You expect midfielders to chip in as well because it's not all the time whereby the forwards are expected to score, especially when it comes to things like corner kicks, set pieces, and anything in between. Because sometimes all you need is a shot outside the box, and sometimes those people who can create shots outside the box are midfielders. Those people who can create opportunities from headers sometimes are defenders. So in terms of goals being contributed in the team, everyone is liable to goals. Everyone has to contribute to goals. Same as when the team defends, everyone has to track back, everyone has to defend. So I'm not blaming the attackers or the midfielders or the defenders separately in terms of the goal scoring issue. I'm blaming everyone. So let's say Kaizer Chiefs continues with these two co-coaches. How much time would I give them if I were the sporting director in the team? So let's look at the fact that already they have played a couple of matches as co-coaches and we're approaching the January part of the season. So I'd say between now and January, if they don't win 4 games, I feel as if they shouldn't come back after January, because if the team continues not winning games, then clearly there's a problem. Clearly the two co-coaches can handle the job of being Kaizer Chiefs head coaches. Let's also talk about the fact that Kaizer Chiefs going forward should avoid this thing of having co-coaches. They should also avoid this thing of making rash decisions, because when Nabi was fired from his job as a coach, clearly there wasn't a plan. Clearly Cedric Kaze and coach Ben Khalil are stopgaps, and Kaizer Chiefs management team is hoping that these coaches do well, but they know that these coaches are not the long-term solution for the problems at Kaizer Chiefs. That's it, folks. Like, comment, share, subscribe, share with family and friends. I'll be right back like Reece James, hopefully not injured and having proper vocal cords.